My name's Chip Boaz, and as a musician, I live a double life on the bass guitar and the double bass. And today I want to talk about a choice you need to make as a doubler, and that is, can you or should you play double bass on a pop rock gig? Of course, the easy answer to this question is absolutely. You can play double bass on a rock or a pop gig. There's nothing holding you back. We're creative beings. We should do and we should explore anything that serves the music well. And that's the crux of the matter. You really need to answer the question, does the double bass serve the music that you're playing? And this is when it's time for honest self-reflection. You've got to think about the music you're playing and think about, does the double bass fit into that picture? Now, you can throw it in anywhere, and I always encourage you to explore and experiment. That's how some great new musical ideas have come about. But be real for a minute. If you are trying to get a heavy metal thing going in the realm of someone like Metallica, you are not going to want the double bass. You're going to want to lay it down with that electric bass. If you are doing something that requires tons of distortion and effects on your bass, I don't know that the double bass is really going to fit in that situation. The electric bass is going to be a better choice. You might have music that requires a high degree of virtuosity, lots of riffs and unison things with the guitar. Honestly, the double bass might not be the best choice. There may be some physical limitations that stop you from doing the music justice. And that's where that line between experimentation and reality sits. Can you do the music justice? And I'm going to be honest, in my opinion, maybe 7 or 8 times out of 10, the better choice on a rock and pop gig would be the bass guitar rather than the double bass. But honestly, there are lots of cases where the double bass might be a really good solution for a pop rock gig. Take an acoustic singer-songwriter type situation. I think if you're playing with a singer who's playing guitar or even maybe just playing keyboard, using the double bass to accompany can really add a unique texture to the sound, a very earthy, human type feel to the music, and can really work right there. It can even work in a full band context. The double bass really can pump the sound out. It can be a big, thick, fat sound. And if supported correctly, it can really push the groove in a unique way. And when you're talking about support, if you're going to play the double bass on a rock pop gig, you've really got to think about your sound setup everywhere from the amp that you're using to the DI that's going to go out to the front of house system. You're going to want to ensure that you can hear yourself so that you can play in tune, so that you can know that you're grooving along with the music. The double bass has a tendency to get overwhelmed in loud settings. You've got to make sure that you've got an amplifier, preferably raised, that is going to give you the sound reinforcement that you need. And if you start talking about putting effects on your double bass, you're going to make sure you want a good EQ on that so you can really distinguish the notes out of what could potentially be a muddle of sound. It can work. It can work really great, but you've got to take the time to think about how you are going to realistically execute that when you're standing next to a loud guitar, a heavy drum kit, maybe a synthesizer. You've got to put yourself in that situation and let yourself really be able to hear the music and groove. And if you're switching back and forth between electric bass and double bass, that's a whole nother layer of consideration that you're going to need to make sure you've got good setups for both solutions. There's a lot to think about there. So you tell me what you think. Does a double bass work on a pop rock gig, or should you just stick with the bass guitar in that situation? I'm going to be honest, I've done both, and I've had successes and places where maybe I should have made the other choice. But I'd love to hear what you think. Tell me about your experiences or just your opinion on the matter down in the comments. Can't wait to hear what you have to say.